Hi. So it's been about a day since the shooter of Charlie Kirk was caught, and much to a lot of people's disappointment, I would say, he is a young white guy. He seems to come from a gun family, which is a little inconvenient, I'd say, for the right to a degree, but he also had some leftist beliefs too, so it's kind of inconvenient for everyone. And therefore, everyone has collectively, I don't think it's fully gone through, but they've collectively decided to start blaming essentially young men problems. And unfortunately, I don't have much time, so we're gonna have to speed run this. And speed run is a video game term, and it's kind of relevant today because that is what, well, I'd say it's a video game and internet term, but same difference, is that it's relevant because what everyone is now saying is that this kid was radicalized by the internet and we need to do something about it because the internet is ruining the boys. And I'm here to tell you, well, first I'm going to tell you, one, that's obviously not true. And then two, that I want to underlie the principle as to why that isn't true. And firstly, it's that the internet has algorithms, like if we're talking about social media, for instance. It has algorithms that are designed to make you addicted to it. They are not designed to change your beliefs. Nearly nobody goes on the internet, sees some random guy saying something, and is like, oh, well, I guess that's true. Like, nobody does that. Even people who are pretty gullible have learned not to trust the internet, because a bunch of horse shit's on the internet. Let's be realistic. Sorry for my French. And so the internet makes you engaged, and it gives you a lot of different opinions. But that's the extent of the internet's effects. Young men are not going out and shooting people and committing suicide and doing all the things that people are saying that are currently wrong with the young men these days because they are just being influenced by the internet. It's a scapegoat excuse, and it's a scapegoat excuse. I guess there was no I thing, but I find it very annoying because it's the kind of excuse, and this is the principle that I want to get across, that it's highly suspicious to hear it. Because when people say, oh, the internet has done something, like, well, let's think about what the internet does, what the internet is. It's just an amalgamation of a bunch of different opinions that people have. And it's put together in a bunch of pictures and experiences, so to speak. AKA, there's no specific person to blame, and there is nothing really to be done. What are you going to do? Delete the internet? And the only thing that's really proposed are kind of like outlandish pre-ideas, like, let's make it so no young men ever use the internet. Genius! Why didn't I think of that? Like, no, it's not going to happen. It was never going to happen. And I'm very suspicious of excuses that are like vague and broad, and more importantly, don't assign blame to any specific thing happening. Like they say, oh, the internet has radicalized young men. Really? How? Who in specific? What? Like, draw me the mechanism for this. No one ever does because they can't. The strongest thing they'll say is that it's an analogy to drugs, where, well, you start on Twitter, and then you end up, Reddit is kind of leftist now, so I guess that really doesn't apply as much here, but let's just say Reddit, because Reddit is crazier. And then, you're on 4chan, and then you're on 8chan, which is apparently a thing. I couldn't tell you what those individual things mean, because I think I looked them up once. But point being that it's like a drug addiction thing, and the further you get into it, the worse the effects on you will become, until you are completely influenced into believing things that are impossible. Like, no. People, young men in specific in this case, are influenced to believe, sorry, I'm just looking over there because the car was going by. Young men are influenced to believe these things that are probably 80% wrong, not because of the internet. The internet is just the internet is just a cope. It's just the stand-in at the end of the road of a bunch of, usually, let's be honest, failed parenting and failed societal parenting to that degree. Like, it is the responsibility of society to steward the young to be happy and healthy. And right now it's very clear that they aren't. So you can't just say, I guess there's a third point I wanted to get off, which is that if society goes around blaming these things like the internet or the video games, they like to do that before, or the kids just aren't raised right. I've heard that one. Let's see what else. Well, I guess I want to give just an example of this, like school-wise. I want to say, the kids they have attention spans that are so short. No, they actually don't. I have a famously short attention span, and I can tell you I listen to 3-hour podcasts all the time. It is not rare. I am decently entertained, and a lot of people are too, given the millions and millions of views that these young male-focused podcasts have that are at least 45 minutes a day, and they watch them every day. I mean, not every day, but mostly. So it's to blame these vague and unsolvable problems for the reason things are coming apart, rather than taking accountability. And if you'll notice, they've been saying, the young men are influenced to do these bad things and influenced to, be antisocial. I mean, I don't have the current creativity because I'm kind of in a rush to go into that more. But the idea is that they're correctly identifying that young men are having a problem. And then they are blaming things that they won't even attempt to change and won't even attempt to take accountability for. But society actually does have to take accountability because something is going wrong. It's going on wrong bigly, as nearly everyone will agree with. Very few people are like, the youth are fine. Everything's great. That's why they're all on drugs. Like, no one is thinking that the young are fine. And yet no one's doing about it. I don't hear anyone. There is a rare person who will criticize schooling more than saying, homework's boring. Okay, and are you going to do something about it? Are you going to research it? Like, society says that they care so much about the young. And I guess I'm going off topic here, but to the extent that they say they do, it's very clear that they will never actually act on those words. And if you let everything fall apart, that alone is unacceptable by your own terms. Because that's really where the conversation is shifting after the shooter was revealed, that we have to, as a society, ensure that the young don't think it's acceptable, the young in specific, but people in general. The young don't think it's acceptable to silence speech. But you are no longer an authority on acceptability if you do things that you've already deemed unacceptable. And the young don't take it seriously, and really no one takes it seriously anymore. And this is a big problem that society needs to take accountability for and actually make changes. But they won't. I mean, that's really the truth at the end of it, is that even if this video were seen by nearly everyone in the country, they would say, oh, that's a good point. That's very interesting. Maybe someone should do something about that. And then they'll go back to not caring. Because that's the reality of it. I don't want to be a total Debbie Downer here, but that is the reality of it. And I don't think people care enough. And there will come a time where they will wish they had cared more. Anyway, see you next time. Please like, share, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, all the things that will hopefully help my small YouTube ego. Bye.